Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. May we still be in the protection of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I respect Mr. Sisley and Mrs. Rara as supervisor for the English course for reading scientific paper. I am Imam Mustain from Class A S2 Basic Education. On this occasion, allow me and my colleague Diastiki Praktivi to present our work entitled The Effectiveness of Using Digital Flipbook, Learning Media and Learning the Human Digestive System in 5th grade elementary school student, in which we have completed the article to fulfill the final assignment for the course. It is okay for further elaboration of the material to be delivered by colleague Dia Sakti Praktivi. You are welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Imam, for the opportunity given. Well, I will explain the article we have made entitled The Effectiveness of Using Digital Flipbook Learning Media in Learning the Human Digestive System in 5th grade elementary school student. This article consists of introduction, method, result and discussion, and the last is conclusion. Okay, the first is introduction. Education is something very important thing in life, as described in the National Education System Law number 20 of 2003. Education is effort conscious and planned to realize atmosphere learning and the learning process for participant educate in a manner active develop potency himself for having religious spiritual power, control self, personality, intelligence, moral values, as well necessary skill himself, society, nation, and state. From understanding education mentioned that inside education, there is activity learning and the learning process. The education mentioned that inside education, there is an activity learning and learning process. The study is a process where a student in a manner active build knowledge with hook experience. Learning is related to increasing the desire to know a student. The desire for knowledge could grow or be removed, very dependent on how learning that conducted. Development, knowledge, and technology movement also gives influence education in Indonesia. Learning is directed for obtained prowess 21st century as well utilization of technology. Required involvement of all parties, especially party school, in preparing participant educate have competent or skill in life in the 21st century. This demand role educator to develop skill, good hard skill, and soft skill for participants to educate in learning at school so they can plunge into the world of work and be ready to compete with other countries. Educator in think this the teacher prepares all device like curriculum, plan implementation learning, and model or integrated method with learning the 21st century. Developing skill deep 21st century learning is expected from every individual who has skills for living in the 21st century with various opportunities and challenges that will be faced in the era of progress, technology, and information. Indicator success development skill 21st century can see in competent student in communication skill to solve a problem and think critically as well as collaborate. For that, need learning that can direct students for obtaining competence. Implementation of learning moment sweeps the teacher's role to be a facilitator and improves the role of active participants educate. Learning using media, sources learning, and teaching materials will be more effective compared to using conventional media and variation learning or source study. Source study is a very important component in activity learning, necessarily supported with the use of learning media for conveying information from source study with OK. Learning media is meant to make it easy to study student. Learning media could function as a powerful learning for a growing interest in study of student. The same thing to source learning. Learning media is also necessarily customized to the interests, needs, and characteristics of student. The use of learning media could make the atmosphere of study become more interesting and fun. One of interesting learning media that can cover development theory in book student is a flipbook. Many article studies discuss the use of flipbook media. A study first conducted by Sartono explained the effective use of flipbook is learning and getting an increased interest study impacted student, increasing results to study of student. Flipbooks have a power high pull on students because already apply computerized and also easily accessed online or offline. A study lines conducted by Mahrawi with research describes flipbooks as very interesting because be equipped with video, audio, and image so which make it easy for students in understanding theory lesson. Media validation result obtained 82% value included in the category feasible and expert test theory obtained 79% value included in the category words. The same thing to the result of research conducted by Rini. Result in validation expert and trial state that flipbook that was developed has good quality, is easy for students to learn the material, is easily accessed when only and where just. In line with research, Ramadina and Pranata, Flipbook media has good quality because has been tested by two experts that are media expert and expert in theory, with a presented presentations of 81.60% and 84.80%, which both belong to a very decent category. These flipbooks also has a pre-implementation test that was carried out to two participant educate in a scale small, north size, and a presentation obtained including a very decent category. Referring to research previously relevant to development of digital-based teaching media flipbook application, then researchers are interested in best media inner flipbook application science learning material system education human. The study is conducted because of problem at UPT SD Negeri Suru 1 and UPT SD Negeri Popoh 2. In particular, class 5 is the lack of motivation in the study participants' education because the media used only from book print, so which impacted on result learned it. Expected with the use of this flipbook media could increase the motivation studies of students in science learning so that it also has an impact on the result study of students. And the next is method. Study this use approach methods quantitative with a pre-experimental design model because of the data it collects and analyzes characteristic quantitative. The method is defined as something method with a systematic form for looking to influence one variable with another variable by giving treatment special and strict control on a condition. The population in the study is students of UPT SD Negeri Suru 1 and UPT SD Negeri Popoh 2. Samples were taken in a study this is student class 5 UPT SD Negeri Suru 1 and UPT SD Negeri Popoh 2. The election samples is based on the consideration that the second population has a quality of almost education same based on report card score. Study experimental done with compared condition before and after. The producer research conducted identified the problem with observing the class to be studied, collecting value data, beginning with the student before treatment, doing treatment, learning using flipbook media, doing tests after treatment, analyzing data, and withdrawing conclusion. Metadata collection is carried out with observation and tests. Observations were used to collect related data application of flipbook media during the learning process. The application of flipbook media will make it easy for students in understand content, learning, and provide a more learning process conducive. On the test beginning or pre-test, test shapes choice double used to collect outcome data studied science before has passed the expert judgment and reliability test. Collected data was analyzed, use analysis, descriptive, and analysis statistic inferential or t-test. Before testing the hypothesis, some prerequisite tests must be done at the state beginning of the research, namely the test of normality and homogeneity. Normality test data distribution is carried out for knowing whether data between two groups is normally distributed or not. Normality test result learned science students were analyzed using Shapiro Wilk with SPSS 26 calculation for Windows.
The next explanation is results and discussion. The result of the research: a total of students in groups experiment and control its 22 students class experiment and 17 student class control. Grade point average experiment 79 with 13 students who passed and 9 who didn't know. Whereas the average value of the control class is 69 with 8 students passing and 9 students failing. Results level significance for 0.107 and 0.070 for the pretest in the control and experimental classes, and 0.180 and 0.064 for the post-test in class control and experiment. Compare the level significances of 0.05 level. The significance of the normality test second group is bigger than 0.05, so the data is in a study this normally distributed. And then the homogeneity test was done is step next using SPSS 26 for Windows. The significance of value obtained on the pretest and posttest is 0.197 bigger than 0.05. So the variant pretest and posttest were categorized as homogeneous. The average value of the N-gain score for the class experiment or using flipbook media is 57.1665 or 57.2% and included in the category not effective. The value of the N-gain score is a minimum of 22.22% and a maximum score of 83.33%.
At the last, based on the result and discussion, the conclusion of the research is the use of flipbook digital media is sufficiently effective upgrade result studies of students, specifically material system education men compared to without using media.
Thus, the discussion of our article. Sorry if there is a delivery error. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.